Hello and welcome to the School Safety Free Period. Today we have a slightly more serious edition. Is that accurate to say?
Well, it's not that funny, but
It's a lot
it
less
is
funny.
ridiculous. If the
Ridiculous.
threshold is ridiculous and infuriating, then we're there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I am Amanda Klinger,
And I'm Dr. Amy Klinger.
and we're with the Educators School Safety Network. And if you're not familiar with our School Safety Free Period podcast, we would encourage you to also check out some of the other episodes that are quite a bit more funny and a little bit less serious. But the premise of the podcast is one of us has a story that, if it wasn't true, you would think that we were making it up, but they are all true. And they are unbelievable, absurd, usually pretty funny. And we tell the other one the sort of school safety story, and then we do a little bit of takeaways and a little bit of expert opinion and advice. So,
And in this one, we might just be shaking our heads. There may be just a lot of head shaking.
which is not maybe the best thing for a podcast, because no one else can see us shake our heads, but
Maybe my
Well-
head will rattle, and you'll be able to tell.
maybe you'll be able to tell in the tone of my voice.
Well, we've been doing a lot of research in the past 18 months to 20 months on bomb threats and incidents in schools. And we've issued a report last year and this year. And you may want to check that out, actually, because it's pretty shocking, amazing, and unbelievable in many ways. I guess, but then maybe the nature of what we do is also that way. But so we've been really following, bomb threats, issues in schools with bomb threats and bomb incidents and so forth. And we clearly were able to demonstrate and research an incredible spike in school-related bomb threats during the 15-16 school year. And then this year, as we tracked in 16-17, we also saw an unusual phenomena in that we had a lot of bomb threats again, but also that we had them concentrated in certain areas and concentrated in certain communities. Jewish community centers and schools in particular were heavily targeted. None of that sounds very funny at all, does it? But what we now are finding out is that there's been an arrest in this particular case. And so that's what we kind of want to talk about today. A little bit of where we are and what happened with that. It has been recently revealed in the court documents that were unsealed as this case progresses that we have charged an Israeli-American teenager, an 18-year-old, with making over 245 threatening calls to Jewish community centers and schools around the United States. So this is just what he managed to do in the United States. And so that in and of itself is pretty shocking and amazing. But I guess what is equally disturbing is the fact that we have an entrepreneur here, I guess, in the sense that this 18-year-old created a school email bomb threat service on Alphabay, which is not eBay, I don't think. Pretty sure.
It is not. It is on the dark web.
It is.
It is not available through Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or Internet Explorer. You need a special internet client to access that website.
It is an online marketplace for illicit goods and services. Now, bad news, it was shut down by the government in July of 2017. So if you had intended to stop this podcast, hop on Alphabay and buy yourself an illicit good or service, out of luck.
Now, I do have to say, in no way condoning bomb threats or school-based violent threats. That part, clearly not funny. I do think it's a little bit funny that he was like an entrepreneur doing this. That is a little bit funny, especially since as a middle school student, I got in trouble for taking large packs of gum from Sam's Club to school and selling them stick by stick out of my locker. So I do sort of, I appreciate the hustle and I appreciate the entrepreneurial spirit.
Are you currently selling gum on Alphabay, the dark web?
Why gum? I don't know if you need to
I
go
don't
to
know,
the
but
dark
I'm just
web.
saying if that's your
No, I don't think you need to
your
go to the dark.
contraband of choice to sell.
Yeah, mint gum on the dark web.
Well, so we have your little entrepreneur. He charged $30 for an email bomb threat to a school,
It's a steal.
plus a $15 surcharge if the buyer wanted to frame someone for it.
So he had like a
So-
menu.
Correct.
You could order off the menu.
Correct. Now, it's double for a threatening email to a school district or multiple districts. So it's one price, $30 for just one school. But it's $60 if you wanted to go to multiple schools or a school district. Because come on, his time is worth something.
So if you went to like a school district with like 10 schools, that's a pretty
Well,
good
if
deal.
it's more than 12 schools, there was a custom listing price.
Well, right. I mean,
It's difficult,
Right.
Got to get the menu.
call for an estimate.
He indicates he was available 24/7 to make emails, and just like Walmart, promised to refund non-successful bomb threats. So you got your money back if it didn't work.
If it didn't work in that they didn't evacuate, or it didn't
Uh,
work
if-
in that the email didn't go through.
Don't know. They didn't really specify that in that particular place.
Okay.
But so he has.
I am shaking my head. We
So,
should just
yeah.
say shaking my head, shaking my head.
So we've got the $30, bomb threat, $60 if you wanted to go big, $15 surcharge for framing somebody.
Oh, okay.
He's available all the time. The arrest started out with him being arrested for 28 counts of making threatening calls. That's what I think is kind of interesting, is that he's charging for the emails, but he gets arrested for making the calls. So I don't know if this was like a sideline or a hobby or what exactly, or probably a diversification of his services potentially.
It was probably easier to charge the charge and prosecute on the email stuff was probably easier to charge and prosecute, would be my guess.
Yeah, well, so he's got the 28 counts of threatening calls, the 245 that he's accused of as well. They estimate earned nearly $240,000 worth of Bitcoin for selling his services. Now, I don't know where do you spend Bitcoin? I'm not quite sure.
On the dark web, of course.
Oh, so you can't just like have a big like backpack full of money.
No, I mean Bitcoin is becoming
Well, what do
vaguely
you-
like a real
Okay, but what do
currency.
you buy
You could
if
convert it.
Alphabet is shut
No.
down and there's no illicit goods and services to purchase?
No, you can. I mean, you can legitimately convert Bitcoin to regular currencies. I mean, there's like a Bitcoin ATM in Brooklyn, because hipsters. But you can. I mean,
Well,
it,
well, now let me finish telling you about this guy. Because he has.
because Bitcoin technically can be used for non-illegal things.
Oh, all right.
It is more typically you find
So
it
he's
in
probably
illegal
buying
things.
gifts for his grandma or something with it.
Yeah,
I'm
or
pretty
like his
sure.
college tuition.
Pretty
He's
sure,
18.
yeah. I'm pretty sure. He does try to keep his buyers happy. He advises that there's no guarantee that the police will question or arrest the framed person. So if you want to spend the $15 for the framing, that's on you.
Buyer beware.
Let me read the quote. I just add the person's name to the email. Now you can't see the grammatical errors in here, but the English teacher in me sees them. I just add the person's name to the email. In addition, my experience of doing bomb threats, putting someone's name in the email threat will reduce the chance of the threat being successful. But it's up to you if you would like me to frame someone. So,
That's not funny, but it's
it's
kind of
is
funny.
a little bit ridiculous. Well, okay, so now, in case you were curious, he got good reviews, because any good marketplace for illicit goods and services wants to have. So let's read one Alphabet user's review. The threats were amazing, on time and on target. We got evacuated and got the day cut short. So there's another satisfied customer. So,
So
yeah,
do you
there's
think-
where we are.
Do you really think, I think this brings up a good segue for us to talk about something about the bomb threats and doing the report. I think when we say, oh, we're doing research on school-based bomb threats and incidents, people sort of like internally roll their eyes like, oh, bomb threats. That's what kids in the 80s did to get out of school. In the research that we do, obviously we don't have the capacity to drill down into who is perpetrating these threats, because oftentimes law enforcement is never able to find someone and make arrest. And we're not able to ask, so why were you making this threat? So obviously there is a small percentage of these threats where there is someone who really is motivated or feels motivated that they're going to carry out a Columbine style attack. I think that's really the minority of these events, though. I mean, do you think that most of these bomb threats are kids who are quote unquote just joking trying to get out of school?
I don't know if it's so much trying to get out of school. I think it's more the chaos. I mean, let's think about this. If my choice is third period, listening to my teacher do a 40-minute lecture on the rise of, I don't know, socialism and blah, 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 blah. Or my
That
choice
sounds
is...
boring, especially if you didn't complete a sentence. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean,
So, or my choice is we're going to have a bomb threat, and I can watch the people losing their mind, parents going crazy, the school officials running around not knowing what to do, fire truck pulls up, police go. We get to go sit in the football stadium in the sun, hang out with our friends, have a party. I mean, that's like a no-brainer. And then for $30, some other idiot will do it for me.
yeah.
I mean, so
stirring the pot. So not just a purely getting out of school motivation, but a
if
motivation
that's
of
how it ends
stirring,
up,
of
perfect.
stirring the pot.
yeah, if it
Exactly.
ends up that classes are canceled, even better. But whatever it is, it breaks up the monotony of, what for many kids is a very boring experience of being in school and I don't like it and let's do something.
So could you make the
For a
case?
very low threshold of getting caught.
Could you make the case then? So we talk, we do trainings about bomb threat management for schools and, ways to respond appropriately to bomb threats. But one thing that we do talk a lot about is working to prevent violence in schools and working to prevent the reoccurrence of bomb threats, especially when you have sort of copycat, when we see schools.
Well, because it works once, let's
right.
do it again.
So could you make the case maybe that if sometimes school seemed a bit more engaging for some kids, there would be less need for,
Sure, absolutely.
you know,
I mean, when you have a lot of bomb threats, that's symptomatic of something.
a climate and culture
It's
problem.
symptomatic of anything is better than what's currently happening in school. But I think the other flip side of that is if we did a better job and had training and people knew what to do in these bomb threats,
So
and
there
it
was
was
less
no big
chaos.
deal. It wasn't chaotic. It wasn't a party. It wasn't fear and, media and fire trucks and parents wailing and breaking
Rending
down
of
the office
cloths.
door to get their kids.
Right.
I mean, if it was just very business-like investigation that's wrapped up pretty quickly, people do what works, and when it doesn't work, they stop. I mean, so here you have a guy that arguably is fulfilling a need, apparently.
right?
We can I'll withhold my opinions on the ridiculous and what sort of a person we have here that they're willing to do this, but that's a totally different sort of a thing.
You could also make the case. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to defend what this kid did of causing chaos. And
He's
doing
an
this.
18-year-old.
It's
He's not a kid. He's a
crim-
man.
This person did, but on the other hand, they weren't actually harming anyone. I mean, there's a reason you can't
He is
yell.
harming someone in the sense that you are sowing the seeds and creating an environment where, oh no, another bomb threat.
True.
Until
That's
the
true.
point where somebody with a pressure cooker
That's true.
and the capability and the commitment to do so is going to have much larger devastation because this guy set the table for it.
Sure.
By wearing schools down and making people think that every bomb threat is some idiot on whatever
The dark web.
Alphabet fooling around.
So to be clear, when you say that, we want to get to a place where these bomb threats, quote unquote, don't work, you're not saying that schools shouldn't be responding. You're saying that we're responding in
I'm
a
saying
way
where the thrill is gone for the
right,
perpetrator.
The thrill is gone because we're responding in a way that no one's panicky, no one's upset.
But we are
will-
still
we will
responding. We are
respond
still investigating. We are
appropriately.
still taking it seriously.
We'll respond appropriately to a credible threat, but we're not wigging out, and it's not end of days. It's just this is a thing that happened, and we're responding appropriately, and we're addressing
Go
it.
watch any funny video that you can find of a kid who falls or bangs himself in the head or whatever, and the parent goes, "Oh no, are you okay?" And they panic, and the kid goes, "I'm not, I'm hurt," and starts crying. Or a parent who goes, "Oh, you look okay. It's fine. Here, let me rub it," and it's no big deal. Parent still is attentive, still cares what happens to the kid, still is paying attention, but it's just two very different responses that create a different end result. And I guess that's what we're looking for here. And in this particular case, I just think this one, the reason that I bring this to you is I think it's really important for us to see that there are these places, this stuff is happening, whether we are aware of it. I couldn't have told you what Alpha Web was 20 minutes ago.
Well, it's Alpha Bay, so
Or
you
Alpha
couldn't have told me what Alpha Web was now.
Right. Well, whatever. I mean, so we aren't aware of, or at least I am grossly uninformed, apparently, on some of these things, because apparently I purchased my illicit products and services elsewhere because I wasn't aware that these things exist.
You're a big believer in Amazon Prime. You don't get around to Alpha Bay too much. I'm also a big
They
believer
probably
in
don't
Amazon.
have free. They probably don't have free shipping on Alpha Bay.
Well, but he did have a money back guarantee, so I mean, he's right there.
But this is the ridiculous notion of what we're up against, and not to say that technology is inherently evil, but we have to always remember that somebody is a step or two ahead of us all the time, and so we can't just assume that, well, because last time this is what happened and 5 years ago this is the way it was. This just goes to demonstrate that we are always needing to step up our game, be vigilant, be on top of things. We can't just be complacent and sit and think of a bomb threat as that, like it was in 1985.
Right. Well, they didn't have Alpha Bay or the dark web in 1985, so
Nope.
there you
they
go.
didn't. And I guess where this goes from here is now how far are the authorities going to go in untangling this? So are you going to go find who called him 245 times and ask him to make these threats? You know, are they
Yeah.
going to go back? I know there's one in particular, it says in the article when I was doing research on this, that there's someone in California that they're ready to charge because they know they were able to connect their desire, you know, that they engage this person for that. So, you know, do you go back and untangle all these, or, you know? And some idiot reading about this goes, "Oh, I'll do it for
Is it-
I'll do it for $25."
Well, you can do $30 because he's out of business, so you can
Yeah.
take
So-
right over his mantle.
So I guess, you know, the takeaway there is we have to stay on top of these things. And we can look at this and go, oh, well, it was just a bomb threat this time.
Well, there you have it. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. If you
We do not take Bitcoin
I mean,
for anything.
we don't take Bitcoin for like carrying
See,
out threats.
I equate Bitcoin as being like suspicious and like illegal, and it's not. But I equate that.
No, it's kind of dorky. I would say it's more dorky than anything than suspicious or illegal. I mean, it's supposed to be like you can't trace it, and it's I mean, it's sort of unnecessary.
I just remember the play money that people used to have. I feel like it's play money. Like you have little plastic coins and little paper dollars, and that's your Bitcoin.
Digital. It's completely digital.
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, anyway.
Another episode where I sound like I'm 107.
150 years old. Exactly.
Back in the day.
You didn't have Bitcoin in your day. So, yeah, please rate, review, subscribe. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Please do, if you have a interesting or exciting or unbelievable school safety story, please do send it to us. You can send it to us, info@eschoolsafety.org. And if you have any other questions, you can send those to us as well. We always love to help and answer questions. And also you can head to our website for any other information or resources and anything else we can do to help. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay. So, are we starting?
Do we want to say that this is a serious, more
No,
serious
it's not.
edition?
It's necessarily serious. It's just, whatever.
Okay.